Hello everybody, and welcome back. Last time we explored the Temple of Wind, and thanks to the influence of the baby elves, we were forced to fight Arpuya in his arm phenomenon form. This time we're going to head for the core of New Arcadia and finally take on El Paiso. But before that, so as I said off screen, I did a little bit of E-crystal grinding, and I have now raised all of our cyber elves to their final stages. So we are pretty much ready to go. At last, here is the final area of Neo Arcadia. Will you go? Please, don't overstrain yourself. Alright, here we are, at the final stage. And I like the detail that you can see that we're in a high tower and we can see all the buildings surrounding us, since we're supposed to be at the dead center of Neo Arcadia. So we can kinda get an idea of the scope that is Neo Arcadia. You don't really get that because the first stages, even though they show like a beautiful garden and everything else, you don't really see the scope as how large of an area Neo Arcadia really is. But in this case, you do kinda get an idea of it. But of course, even though we have fought against all of the Guardians, we still haven't gone through the boss rush. So for any boss that has an elemental weakness, I will be sticking with the defense form, of course. With the combination of Master El Paiso and Master Dark Elf, the new world is ready to begin. Alright, so we're dealing with Phoenix Magnum first. So let's change to the Thunder Chip. Here he comes. So far so good. Alright, one more hit should do it. There we go. It can't be! I didn't think my heart could be tricked by them. Foolish. So I'm only going to read the dialogue for Phoenix Magnum and one other boss, aside from El Paiso of course, because their dialogue pretty much boils down to what we just saw. That they were brought back by El Paiso and the Dark Elf, and once you take them out, they realize that they were fooled by them. And they speak about a new world and everything. So right here, Polar Cambrus, which I believe I mentioned was one of the easiest bosses. It's actually a bit tougher on the second fight because, well, we have ice on the ground, which we didn't have on the first stage. But even with that, it's very easy. Alright, 2 down, 1 more to go here. So, since High Leg Urabuckle has no elemental weaknesses, I'll switch back to the Rice form. Alright, we are almost done. There we go. I am rushing through this because this is a rather large stage, but then again it is the final stage, so I guess that is to be expected. we have a couple of panel cannons, as we saw already. And so, of course, there's a ton of Pantheon gunners. Let's quickly change to the Sea Buster. And here we are, on to the second boss rush area. So one of these actually has a rather cool battle. I don't remember which, but let's start from the one up here. Okay, it's not this one. So when we first fought Panther Flocklaws, we were on top of two speeding trains. Now, since the stage is trying to replicate that, we're on... I don't know what they are. They're just columns that I guess they're... They're clearly not the train, so I don't know what they are doing, but it is kind of funny anyways. One more hit. There we go. Alright. What do we have here? Alright, this is the one. The greatest thing ever is ready to awaken. Another chapter in our glorious history begins. Master Alpaiso, forever. Let's go, little brother. Yes, brother. So, if you recall, when we first took out Kubokost's Anjus, he mentioned something about being unable to avenge his brother. And this is who he was talking about. The guy that we fought on the first Mega Man Zero game, whose name I can't recall because all of the names of the bosses are quite silly, so I'll just put that on screen later. But yeah, you get a double fight, and I do have this move right here. This is their EX skill, and it's probably the toughest one to avoid, honestly. And since we have two enemies at once, they're always on the offensive, so it is quite tricky, and I messed up. Just to be on the safe side, I want to quickly use the sub-tank, because even with the defense form, that can deal some annoying amount of damage. And now you cannot hit them when they'll do that. They are immune to damage, I believe. Yep. Come on, we're almost done. Also, be careful, because even if you fully deplete their life bar, they are somewhat similar to Phantom, in that the battle is not yet over. What? What happened? Brother! It can't be! We were manipulated! Ugh! So yeah, even if you fully deplete their life bar, they can still get you with that one final attack. But yeah, I think that's actually really cool that they did that with that otherwise throwaway boss from the first game. And of course, we leave the worst for last. So Burble also doesn't have a weakness, so let's switch to the Rise form. Though the Flame Chip is rather useful for getting him when he's up there. No! Come on! There we go. God damn it. Oh, come on. Oh yeah, and if the bubbles touch you, they will highly reduce your moving speed. I never mentioned that before because they didn't get to touch me, so yeah. I really hate this one. He's really, really, really annoying. Come on! There we go, finally. Oh. Now all that's left is El Paiso. That will be really useful for filling up this sub-tank once more. Gotta be careful here. Alright. And here we are. So, for this final fight, I do want to actually go with the normal look. I have been waiting for you, Zero. Nothing is worse than having a show that no one comes to watch. Once I destroy the original X, I will be invincible! I won't let that happen. What the? Thank you for coming to my show, but I'm afraid that this is the real retirement of your friend. Time to die, X, and release the Dark Elf. So we failed. And we failed the promise that we pledged to our Puya, to protect X. I did it! I did it at last! I terminated the legendary hero! I destroyed X at last! Sorry to have kept you waiting, Zero. I am going to terminate you, destroy all Neo Arcadia, and exterminate all the human beings. What do you say? A world without humans? The world only for replicants. Don't you think it will be paradise? Alright, here we finally have El Paiso. Be careful with that attack, because he will do it quite a lot, and if it hits you, it will actually drain some health from you and give it back to him. So the stage in which we are fighting him is somewhat similar to Copy X, and sadly also similar to Copy X, he is a bit of a joke, even with the power of the Dark Elf, which is really weird because it is not that we failed because he got here earlier. I mean, he did, but he clearly waited for us. Also, this move right here, that is his EX kill. But as I was saying, even though he waited for us, meaning that we technically had the chance to stop him, he was able to freeze us in place without the full power of the Dark Elf. And yet he never uses that ability in combat. And as I was saying, here we have it. He takes away some health and he recovers some. And he can summon a few enemies. I don't know if the enemies can drop health. In my experience, they really haven't. Okay, never mind, they can. He can summon a Pantheon and a Spiking. So let's see his EX skill one more time before I take him out. I forgot that his saber comes back like that. Speaking of Spikings. Alright, phase 1 down. This can't be! I am supposed to have become invincible! I'm supposed to have obtained the power that had nearly brought the world to destruction! It was not enough! Dark Elf! Give me more strength! Alright, on to phase 2. A couple of things. First off, I actually really like the transformation that he goes. Mostly the scream. He's supposed to be using the power of the Dark Elf, but he doesn't really have any control over it, so that is causing him to lose his sanity. That is why you can barely understand what he's saying, and the very guttural scream that he did at the very beginning. Also, this move right here, which doesn't look like anything special. That is Alpaiso's EX skill. So this form is clearly very similar to the Angel form that Copy X had in the first game. And sadly, this is nowhere near as tough of a challenge as that was. For starters, the stage pretty much remains the same, whereas Copy X actually created a handful of pits to both sides, meaning that we don't have to worry about falling to our deaths. So we get more maneuverability, which makes this fight fairly easy. I took some damage, yeah, but it's nothing that troublesome. And he stays still for a good amount of the fight. The only really somewhat tricky move is the EX skill, but if you just run away from him, it's very easy to dodge. He also has this move, which is, I guess it can be somewhat annoying, but again, all you have to do is just stay away from him and you're fine. Anyways, here we go. Alright, let's see how we did. And we got Elf Breather, and that is because we raised all of the Cyberelves. Also, a new form has awakened. The Proto form has become available. So as I mentioned, aside from the Proto form, we have one other form. Both of which I'll go into more detail on the next episode. Thank you, Zero. Thank you for stopping me. You saved me. I almost did something that cannot be forgiven. Thank you so much. I was so weak-minded. I was so pathetic. Accepting your failures in life is a very difficult thing. I think that I have become a little stronger from this lesson. Time to say goodbye, Zero. Tell Cial I'm sorry. I feel warm. It appears that she saved me. She is not evil. Thank you, Zero. And goodbye. Zero. She wasn't always called the Dark Elf. When she was born, she had a mission to save the world, and had another name. However, when her ability became a threat of world destruction, they began to call her the Dark Elf, since someone called Dr. Bile placed a curse on her. I feel that I know her. Dark Elf. Alright, and there we are. This is it for the story of Mega Man 02. I'm going to just let the credits roll, and after that I think that'll be all for now. Next time we'll go over the proto form, the other form that we're missing, and I guess I'll also discuss hard mode. It seems the Dark Elf has been awakened. The time has come for you to take action, Omega.